first step to unlocking your potential and transforming your life is gaining absolute clarity. Without it, you're like a ship without a compass, drifting aimlessly through life, unsure of where you're headed or how to get there. But here's the truth. You cannot make progress until you know exactly where you are and where you want to go. Most people never take the time to stop and ask themselves the hard questions. What do I truly want? What's holding me back? It's easier to stay in the comfort of confusion than to face the uncomfortable truth of where we stand. But if you're serious about change, you need to get brutally honest with yourself. Take a step back and assess your current reality. Yes, it might be uncomfortable. Yes, it might even be painful. But this is the moment that will set everything in motion. Why is this so important? Because clarity isn't just about knowing where you want to go. It's about understanding exactly where you are right now, no matter how far from your dreams it may seem. Here's the secret. That gap, the space between where you are and where you want to be, is the key to your transformation. That gap creates a powerful dynamic tension within you. It's the kind of tension that won't let you rest, that won't allow you to ignore your desires. It's the kind of tension that forces you to take action. When you understand this gap, something amazing happens. You stop making excuses. You stop pretending like you're okay with where you are. This tension ignites something deep inside of you, and suddenly the need to take action becomes irresistible. But here's the kicker. You won't take action until you truly feel that tension. Until you feel the pull to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you'll stay stuck. This is why most people never achieve their dreams. They aren't willing to feel the discomfort of that gap. But let me tell you something. It's this discomfort, this tension, that drives you toward growth. It's the catalyst for change. So embrace it, let it guide you forward, don't fight it. Allow it to propel you into the next phase of your life. Once you've gained that clarity, the next step is to rewrite your story. And I mean truly rewrite it. I'm not talking about making a few tweaks here and there. I'm talking about completely demolishing the old narrative you've been living by. It's time to destroy the stories that have held you back for so long. The truth is, you've been living under the weight of a narrative that is not yours to carry. You've been holding on to limiting beliefs that are not only untrue, but are also keeping you stuck in the same place. And if you're ready to break free, you need to tear down those walls. Think about it for a second. What's the story you've been telling yourself? Is it about how you're not good enough? How success is for someone else but not for you? How you'll never be able to break through the barriers in your life? What if I told you that none of that is true? What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and everything you desire is the story you keep repeating in your head? It's the narrative that says, I can't, or it's too hard, or it's impossible. That story, it's a lie. And the only reason it has power over you is because you keep giving it power. So let's change that. Right now, the only thing holding you back is the story you tell yourself about why you can't have what you want. And guess what? You can change that story. You can rewrite it. You can choose a new narrative, one where you are the hero, where you break through every obstacle and achieve your wildest dreams. It's time to shift your mindset. It's time to see yourself as capable, worthy, and deserving of every success that comes your way. But to do that, you have to let go of the old story. You have to destroy the limits you've placed on yourself. Here's the thing. Most of the suffering you experience in life isn't caused by your circumstances. It's caused by the story you tell yourself about those circumstances. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself saying, I'm just not good enough for this, or I'll never be able to do it? Those thoughts aren't facts. They're just stories you've been telling yourself for so long that you've started to believe them. But the truth is, the only limits you have are the ones you place on yourself. Your story doesn't define you. You are not your past mistakes, your failures, or your struggles. Those are just chapters in your journey. And you have the power to write the next chapter however you choose. Imagine this. What if the very thing you think is holding you back, your struggles, your failures, your challenges, are actually the things that are preparing you for success? What if those obstacles are part of your story, not to keep you down, but to build you into the person you need to become in order to achieve your dreams? The only thing standing in your way is how you choose to perceive your struggles. You have the power to reframe them, to see them not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. It's all about perspective. So, here's your challenge. Start rewriting your story today. Let go of the past, let go of the limiting beliefs that have kept you stuck, and create a new narrative, one that empowers you, one that propels you forward. The more you change the story you tell yourself, the more your life will begin to transform. You'll start attracting new opportunities, new people, and new circumstances. Why? Because when you change your mindset, the world around you begins to shift. When you start believing in your own potential, the universe aligns to support you. This is where the magic happens. This is where you break free. The story you've been telling yourself about why you can't have the life you want, it's over. It's time to write a new one. And as you do, you'll realize that nothing is impossible. You are capable of more than you ever imagined. All you have to do is change the story you've been telling yourself and watch as your entire reality shifts. So if you're ready to step into the life you've always dreamed of, the first step is clear. Gain clarity, understand where you are, embrace the tension, and then rewrite your story. Break free from the limitations you've been carrying for too long. You are the author of your own life, and today is the day you take control of your narrative. It's time to stop living in the shadows of your past and start living in the light of your limitless future. Your story is waiting to be written. Make it one worth telling. Suffering never stems from the events that happen in your life. It arises from how you choose to interpret those events. It's not the facts that hurt you, it's your perception of them. Let that sink in for a moment. Think about this. If you experience the loss of a loved one, like the death of your mother, you might feel deep sadness. That's natural, that's human. But here's the twist. If a year later you're still consumed by grief, the suffering isn't caused by her passing, it's because you believe it should never have happened. It's as if you're in a constant argument with life itself or with the universe's plan for you. But let me tell you something powerful. Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. Even in the most painful, unimaginable moments, there are lessons, growth, and opportunities embedded within the experience. You may not see it in the moment, but eventually the pain will reveal its purpose. Take a moment to reflect. Think about a time when something truly terrible happened in your life. Something so painful that you never wanted to experience it again or wish it upon anyone else. Now, years later, looking back, you see something different. You see meaning where there was once only suffering. That hardship may have made you stronger, more compassionate, or it might have forced you to create solutions that ultimately improved your life. In the midst of pain, there is always a seed of growth, if you're willing to look for it. And this is where the power lies, in our ability to shift our perspective. The truth is, it's limiting beliefs that keep us stuck in suffering. Beliefs like, I'm not enough, I don't have enough time, or I'll never succeed. These stories we tell ourselves are lies. And not only are they lies, they're painful lies that hold us back from stepping into the life we're truly meant to live. How many times have you intellectually recognized that these beliefs are false, but emotionally they still hold you hostage? You know they're not true, but they still seem to control your actions, your decisions, your mindset. Why is that? Because breaking these patterns requires more than logic. It demands a complete reprogramming of your mindset. It's not enough to know that these beliefs are limiting. You have to crush them, destroy them, and replace them with new, empowering truths that set you free. When you do this, when you start to dismantle those old stories and replace them with new, empowering beliefs, everything in your life will begin to change. Your relationships will improve because you'll stop carrying the weight of self-doubt. Your career will flourish because you'll step into your potential and take bold actions. Your finances will grow because you'll stop believing in scarcity and start believing in abundance. Your health will improve because you'll start taking care of yourself with love and respect. Your overall sense of fulfillment will expand because you'll stop living in fear and start living in alignment with your true purpose. This is not a fantasy. This is the power of mindset transformation. I know this from experience. I've been where you are. There was a time when I was 38 pounds heavier, broke, lonely, and completely lost. I felt stuck in a cycle of despair and self-doubt. But changing my beliefs, rewriting my story, was the first step in turning it all around. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. But when I changed the way I thought about myself, my circumstances, and my future, everything started to shift. I went from feeling hopeless to feeling empowered. I went from being stuck to creating a life I love. But here's the thing, knowing what to do isn't enough. Knowledge is powerful, but without execution, it's just information. The key to transformation is consistency. You must condition yourself to act consistently, day in and day out, until new habits become second nature. It's about showing up for yourself even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work even when it's hard. Eventually, it becomes who you are. You don't even think about it. You just do it. That's how real transformation happens. So ask yourself, what's the story you're telling yourself right now? Is it a story that's keeping you stuck in suffering, in fear, in doubt? Or is it a story that empowers you to take action, to move toward the life you desire? The choice is yours. Your story's in your hands. You have the power to rewrite it, to break free from the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. And when you do, everything changes. You have the power to transform your life. But it all begins with changing the story you tell yourself. Now is the time to make that shift. Let go of the old limiting beliefs, embrace the new, empowering truths, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is the story you're choosing to believe. Change that story, and everything else will follow. I want to share a philosophy that completely changed my life, one that was taught to me by Jim Rohn. It's called the philosophy of stretching. Here's the key. Whenever you find yourself saying, I can't, replace that thought with, I must. If there's something that could drastically improve your life, whether it's in your health, relationships, or business, but it feels hard or uncomfortable, you must take immediate action. It's not about know every step in advance. It's about committing. Think of it like burning the boats. When you have no choice but to move forward, the universe will move in your favor, and doors you never saw before will open. Now, let's dive into a few things that destroy our progress and create a sense of helplessness in our lives. First, there's permanence. Believing that a problem will last forever can create a never-ending cycle of suffering. But here's the truth. No problem is permanent. Everything in life is temporary except for your soul. This is one of the most dangerous mental traps we fall into. When life throws a challenge at us, it's easy to feel like we're stuck in it forever. Whether it's financial hardship, a painful breakup, or a health issue, our minds tend to exaggerate the situation, making it feel like there's no escape. This belief drains our energy and motivation, because if we think there's no way out, why would we even try? Let me ask you this. How many challenges have you faced in the past that at the time felt impossible to overcome? Yet, here you are, standing on the other side of those challenges. Think back to moments when you felt completely overwhelmed. Maybe it was losing a job, struggling in a relationship, or facing a significant setback. Did those situations last forever? Of course not. Eventually they passed, and you move forward, stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of them. Nature teaches us that nothing is permanent. Think about the seasons. Winter may feel long, dark, and cold, but it always gives way to the spring's renewal. The same is true for life. Pain, setbacks, and difficulties are temporary phases, not permanent states. Believing otherwise keeps you trapped in despair, robbing you of the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The key here is to remind yourself that every problem has an expiration date. Even the most challenging situations eventually shift, evolve, or resolve. Your job is to focus on what you can control. Take small steps forward and trust that time will bring change. Write this down. No problem is permanent. The only thing that lasts forever is your soul and your ability to grow. Everything else, your circumstances, your challenges, even your pain, will eventually pass. When you embrace this truth, you reclaim your power to keep moving forward. Next, let's talk about pervasiveness, the second mental trap. This is the belief that one problem in your life defines your entire life. For example, if you're struggling financially, it might feel like everything is falling apart. If a relationship ends, you might think your whole world is crumbling. This belief creates a distorted view of reality where one problem overshadows all the good things that are still present in your life. But life is not black and white. Even when one area feels challenging, there are still parts of your life that are thriving. If your finances are a mess, you might still have great health, supportive friends, or talents that can help you turn things around. If your career isn't where you want it to be, you might still have a loving family or a creative outlet that brings you joy. This isn't about ignoring your problems. It's about putting them into perspective. Imagine for a second that you're looking at a single black dot on a blank sheet of paper. If you focus only on the dot, you'll forget that the rest of the page is clean and full of potential. The same is true for life. No single problem is pervasive. Write this down. No problem is pervasive. Take stock of what's going well in your life right now. Use those strengths as a foundation to tackle the areas that need improvement. One problem doesn't define your entire life. It's common to feel overwhelmed when one area of life isn't going well, whether it's a breakup, financial struggle, or failed project. These situations can make everything seem bleak, but this is what happens when we let a single problem become pervasive. It overshadows everything else in our lives, clouding our perspective and magnifying our pain. The truth is, no single problem defines your entire life. Imagine you're holding a small pebble in your hand. If you hold it up close to your eye, it can block your entire vision. But if you hold it out at arm's length, you'll see that it's tiny compared to the vast world around you. Life works the same way. Problems only feel overwhelming when we focus on them so intensely that we lose sight of the bigger picture. When we zoom out, we see that the problem is not as massive as it once seemed. So when life throws challenges your way, don't let them consume your entire vision. Step back, breathe, and remember, this is just one part of your journey, not the whole journey. Keep moving forward with perspective and resilience. Imagine a towering tree in the heart of a vast forest, its branches stretching high toward the sky. Now picture one of those branches broken or damaged. Does that mean the entire tree is ruined? Of course not. The tree still stands tall, its roots deep in the earth, nourishing it. The other branches remain strong and intact. Your life is no different. Even if one area feels broken or damaged, the rest of your life still holds immense strength, beauty, and untapped potential. When challenges arise, it's easy to get lost in a cycle of negative thoughts. For example, if you're struggling at work, you might think, I'm failing at everything. But is that truly the case? Are you failing in your relationships, in your health, in your passions? Likely not. This mindset tricks us into believing that one problem defines our entire existence. Let's take finances, for instance. If you're burdened by debt, it's overwhelming. But does that mean your entire life is falling apart? Do you still have your health? Are your loved ones by your side? Do you possess talents and skills that could help you rebuild? When you pause and look around, you realize that your financial struggles are just one chapter in your story, not the whole book. The same applies to relationships. If a romantic partnership ends, it may feel like the end of the world. But what about the other relationships in your life? Do you have friends who support you? Family who loves you? Colleagues or mentors who believe in you? It's easy to get trapped in negativity, focusing on the storm while ignoring the beauty around you. It's like staring at a sunset and letting a single dark cloud overshadow the brilliance. The beauty is still there, you just have to shift your focus. One powerful way to break free from this mindset is through gratitude. Each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be monumental. Maybe it's a friendly word from a colleague, a meal you enjoyed, or the warmth of the sun on your skin. These small reminders help you remember that even in the toughest times, there are moments of light. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, helping you see the bigger picture. Another approach is reframing the problem. Instead of thinking my finances are a disaster, try saying my finances are a challenge I'm working to overcome. This simple shift in language transforms your problem from a permanent, all-consuming issue into a temporary hurdle, one you are fully capable of overcoming. Think about the people you admire most. Have their lives been without struggle? Of course not. They've faced obstacles, failures, and setbacks just like everyone else. But the difference is they didn't allow those challenges to define them. They saw their struggles as chapters in a larger book, a book filled with triumphs, lessons, and moments of joy. Remember, your life is not defined by one chapter. It's an ever-evolving story with highs and lows, twists and turns. A challenge in one area doesn't define the entire narrative. By zooming out, you can see the broader picture, and your current struggles won't seem as overwhelming. In those moments, remind yourself of your strengths. What have you already accomplished? What obstacles have you overcome in the past? Recognizing these things anchors you in the truth that you are resilient, capable, and resourceful. You've overcome hardships before, and you will again. Sometimes the key to overcoming adversity is balance. If one area of your life feels out of control, shift your focus to the aspects you can influence. If work is overwhelming, invest time in nurturing your relationships or prioritizing your health. By pouring energy into the positive aspects of your life, you build a foundation of strength that can help you face challenges more effectively. It's also important to avoid generalizing. Just because one area of your life is difficult doesn't mean everything is falling apart. Watch out for thoughts like, I'm always failing, or things never go right for me. These are exaggerations born from a mindset that sees only the negative. Challenge these thoughts by reminding yourself of times when things went well. Mindfulness is another powerful tool to break free from negative spirals. When you feel overwhelmed by negative thoughts, pause and take a few deep breaths. Ground yourself in the present moment. Notice the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Mindfulness allows you to step outside of the mental fog and see things more clearly, helping you break the cycle of negative. Life is like a wheel with multiple spokes. Your relationships, health, career, finances, and personal growth. If one spoke is damaged, the wheel can still turn thanks to the support of the other spokes. When one part of your life is challenging, the other areas can help you maintain momentum and balance. Remember, challenges are temporary. Just because something is difficult now doesn't mean it will stay that way forever. Circumstances change, people grow, and new opportunities arise. What feels insurmountable today may become a source of strength and wisdom tomorrow. Think back to the last time you faced a major challenge. At the time, it likely felt all-consuming. But looking back, you can see how that challenge fit into the bigger picture of your life. It shaped you, taught you, and ultimately made you stronger. The same will be true of your current struggles. Embrace this perspective, and instead of feeling powerless, you'll feel empowered, ready to face whatever comes next. Ready? Stop seeing your life as a series of problems and start viewing it as a journey filled with growth, discovery, and endless possibilities. When you catch yourself thinking that a problem is all-encompassing, take a pause. Ask yourself, what's still going well in my life? What am I grateful for? What strengths can I draw upon to navigate this challenge? That's DDR Weekly with DD Cobbs by DR Bob. These questions are powerful tools that can shift your perspective, reminding you that your life is far greater than any single setback. In the end, no problem is pervasive unless you allow it to be. You have the power to adjust your focus, reframe your challenges, and see the beauty and potential in every area of your life. By doing this, you not only lift your emotional burden, but also unlock the clarity and energy needed to move forward. Remember, your problems are just one piece of the puzzle. They don't define the whole picture. Keep that in mind, and you'll find the strength to face any challenge head on. One of the most damaging traps we fall into is personalizing our problems. It's all too easy to believe that our struggles are a reflection of who we are as a person. When something goes wrong, you might think, I'm not good enough, or I always fail. These thoughts attack your self-worth, making you feel unworthy of success or happiness. But let me ask you this. When you see a child learning to walk and they fall down, do you think they're bad at walking? Of course not. You understand that falling is part of the process. The same applies to you. Facing challenges or making mistakes doesn't mean you're flawed. It means you're learning, growing, and becoming stronger with every step. When a relationship ends, instead of believing I'm unlovable, see it as an opportunity to learn. When a project fails, don't say I'm not capable. That's not the truth. Your challenges don't define your worth. They simply reflect that you're in the process of becoming better. Personalizing problems distorts reality and chips away at your confidence. It doesn't help solve anything. It only makes it harder to face your challenges. Take a moment to think about why personalization is so damaging. When you internalize a problem, you make it about your identity instead of viewing it as something external that can be addressed. You let it define you. This mindset not only creates unnecessary suffering, but also paralyzes you, making it harder to take action. For example, if someone struggles to lose weight and personalizes the problem, they might think, I'm just not disciplined enough, or there's something wrong with me. These thoughts only breed hopelessness and shame, making it harder to take the necessary steps towards success. The reality is, the issue may have nothing to do with who they are. It could be about finding the right strategy, building a support system, or addressing underlying health issues. As long as they see the problem as a reflection of their identity, they'll stay stuck in self-blame and inaction. The same principle applies to career setbacks. If you don't get that promotion, it's easy to think, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. But is that really true? Or is it possible that the timing wasn't right, the decision was political, or the role simply didn't align with your skills? Personalizing setbacks causes you to overlook the external factors at play, preventing you from learning and growing from the experience. This also affects our relationships. When someone criticizes or rejects us, we often take it as a sign that we're flawed or unworthy. However, more often than not, people's actions are a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, or frustrations, not a judgment of our worth. Think about a time when someone lashed out at you. Was it really about you, or was it more about their own personal challenges? Breaking free from the trap of personalization starts with self-awareness. The next time you face a challenge, pay attention to the thoughts that arise. Are you blaming yourself? Are you making the problem about your identity rather than the circumstances at hand? One effective strategy is to separate facts from feelings. For instance, if you make a mistake at work, the fact might be, I made an error in this report, but the feeling might be, I'm incompetent. By distinguishing between the two, you can address the problem without attacking your self-worth. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. If a friend came to you saying, I failed at this project, so I must be a failure, how would you respond? You'd probably remind them of their strengths, encourage them to learn from the experience, and assure them that one setback doesn't define them. You deserve that same support from yourself. Another way to combat personalization is by reframing your language. Instead of saying, I failed, try saying, this attempt didn't work. This subtle shift separates your identity from the outcome, allowing you to see the situation more objectively. Remember, failure isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a stepping stone to growth. Every successful person has faced failure many times. What sets them apart is their ability to see failure as feedback, not a verdict on their abilities or value. Consider the stories you tell yourself when things go wrong. Are they filled with self-criticism and blame, or do they acknowledge the complexity of the situation and focus on finding solutions? Changing the narrative you tell yourself is key to breaking the cycle of personalization. It's also helpful to broaden your perspective. When you personalize a problem, you zoom in so closely that it feels all-encompassing. But when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you see that your challenges are just one part of a much larger story. Reflect on a time when you overcame a challenge. In the moment, it likely felt overwhelming and deeply personal, but looking back, you can probably see that it was influenced by many factors. Some within your control, others not. This realization helps you approach future challenges with clarity and resilience. Perfectionism often fuels personalization. The belief that we must always succeed, always be liked, and always get things right is an impossible standard. Accepting your humanity, the fact that you'll make mistakes and face setbacks, allows you to approach life with more grace and less self-judgment. And remember, everyone struggles. The polished images we see on social media or in public don't reveal the full story. Behind every smile, there's a story of rejection, failure, and doubt. You're not alone in your challenges, and they don't make you any less valuable. When you stop personalizing problems, you open the door to growth. Instead of seeing challenges as reflections of your flaws, you begin to see them as opportunities to learn, adapt, and become stronger. This mindset doesn't just reduce your suffering, it empowers you to take meaningful action. Imagine a world where you approached every setback with curiosity instead of self-criticism. What could you learn? How could you grow? This shift in perspective transforms problems from barriers into stepping stones. Personalization is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. The more you practice separating your identity from your challenges, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that you approach life's ups and downs with greater confidence and resilience. You are not your problems. You are not your mistakes. You are a complex, capable, and ever-evolving individual. By breaking free from personalization, you reclaim your power and create space for growth, joy, and fulfillment. When you let go of permanence, pervasiveness, and personalization, you break free from the mindset that keeps you stuck. You reclaim your ability to create change no matter the circumstances. Life will always bring challenges, but those challenges don't define you. They're temporary. They don't overshadow your entire life, and they're certainly not a reflection of your worth. When you shift your mindset, you open the door to progress, growth, and fulfillment. Keep this in mind. You are stronger than any problem you face. You've overcome challenges before, and you'll overcome them again. Believe in your ability to grow, and remember, the best is yet to come.